Texas governor praises federal response to Hurricane Houston flooding. Texas Gov. Greg Abbott heaped praise Sunday morning on President Donald Trump and the federal government for their response to Hurricane Harvey, a storm that battered the Texas coast over the weekend and continues to drop deluging rain on the Houston area. "I've got to tell you, I give FEMA a grade of A+, all the way from the president down. I've spoken to the president several times, to his cabinet members, such as Secretary of Homeland Security, such as the administrator of FEMA, such as Tom Price, the Secretary of Health and Human Services," Abbott told Fox anchor Chris Wallace. "All across the board, from the White House to the federal administration to FEMA, they've been very helpful." Hurricane Harvey first made landfall along the Gulf Coast on Friday night, slamming into the barrier islands near Corpus Christi, Texas. As a Category 4 storm, Harvey has since moved northeast along the Texas coast, dropping significant amounts of rain on the Houston area, which can be particularly prone to flooding. The storm is expected to move very slowly and continue dumping rain on the already inundated region through the end of next week. Abbott said reports he'd seen indicated that Houston could expect torrential rain from Harvey for days to come. The governor told Wallace, "We're measuring rain these days not in inches but in feet." Trump, who issued a disaster declaration Friday that allowed for federal help to be fully utilized in the region, has used Twitter regularly throughout the weekend to share updates and praise the work of first responders operating in the dangerous conditions. He said FEMA Administrator Brock Long is doing a great job and lauded the wonderful coordination between federal, state and local governments in the great state of Texas. Trump also announced that he will visit Texas as soon as the trip can be made without causing disruption. But the president has also strayed from his storm-focused message at times, using the cover of Friday's storm to announce a pardon of Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio, the departure of White House National Security aide Sebastian Gorka, and implementation orders for the president's decree that transgender individuals will no longer be allowed to serve in the U.S. military. Sunday morning, interspersed between posts related to the hurricane, Trump also previewed his upcoming trip to Missouri, a state that I won by a lot in 2016. The margin was 18 percentage points. The president also launched criticism at Senator Claire McCaskill, Demo, whose 2018 re-election race is considered one of the toughest ones Democrats will face in the upcoming election, writing that she is opposed to big tax cuts and that a Republican will win her seat. Trump also tweeted Sunday morning about his long-promised border wall, funding for which he has threatened to shut the government down over, writing, "With Mexico being one of the highest crime nations in the world, we must have the wall. Mexico will pay for it through reimbursement." But even with the occasional diversion, Abbott was especially praising of the president in his response to the hurricane. "It's been extremely professional, very helpful," he called and said. "Governor, whatever you need you've got." The governor said of Trump's response to the storm, "What you will see over the coming weeks and months is a tremendous rebuilding from all this damage, and a large part of that will be because of FEMA helping out. And so we are very appreciative of the way the president and the White House has responded to this catastrophe." Texas Gov. Greg Abbott said flooding in Houston from Tropical Storm Harvey may be the worst the city has ever seen. "Houston is an area that is prone to flood at least once a year," Abbott told ABC News chief anchor George Stephanopoulos on This Week Sunday, "but this is one of the worst, if not the worst, that Houston has suffered." Harvey, which hit the Texas coast Friday night as a Category 4 hurricane with 130 miles per hour winds and has since been downgraded to a tropical storm, has so far left at least 2 people dead. The storm is lingering over the Houston area, causing severe flooding that is expected to grow worse over the next few days, with a total of up to about 3 feet in rain possible through Wednesday. Rockport, Texas, emerging as city hit hard by Harvey. Abbott said he appreciates the federal government's help in responding to Harvey. "We could not be more appreciative of what the federal government has done, from the president on down," Abbott, a Republican, told Stephanopoulos. President Trump granted Governor Abbott's request for a disaster proclamation on Friday, activating response from the Federal Emergency Management Agency for relief to the state. FEMA has been very active, involved, and engaged in this whole process long before the hurricane even hit ground, said Abbott. Because of their assistance, it means that Texas will be able to begin the rebuilding process very swiftly. Photo: Texas Governor Greg Abbott gives a briefing at the State of Texas Emergency Command Center at Department of Public Safety headquarters in Austin, Texas, as they monitor Hurricane Harvey. Saturday morning, August 26, 2017. Ralph Barrera, Austin American-Statesman via AP. Texas Governor Greg Abbott gives a briefing at the State of Texas Emergency Command Center at Department of Public Safety headquarters in Austin, Texas, as they monitor Hurricane Harvey. Saturday morning, August 26, 2017. More plus. Asked by Stephanopoulos if it makes sense for the president to visit Texas this week, or if it will divert resources from the relief effort, Abbott said, "It depends on where he goes. We are already involved in the cleanup process in Corpus Christi. If the president were to visit there, it wouldn't hinder any efforts. We'll just have to wait and see where the storm goes, understanding that this entire storm has been very unpredictable in its movement, and I couldn't tell you right now where it will be in 2 days," he said. The president tweeted Sunday morning that he will visit Texas once he can do so without disrupting emergency response efforts. The White House point man on the storm, Homeland Security Advisor Tom Bossert, echoed the president's tweet in a separate interview on This Week Sunday, saying that Trump doesn't want to get in the way of relief efforts. "We'll go where we can without getting in the way of the operators," said Bossert. "We certainly won't go in a place where we would prevent life-saving activities from taking place." The president wants to go to show support. He doesn't want to go to get in the way. At least one person was killed as the Houston area was inundated by torrential rain and flooding early Sunday while Tropical Storm Harvey moved slowly across Texas. One woman died in West Houston late on Saturday after getting caught in floodwaters. She appeared to have gotten out of her vehicle in high water, though authorities had not confirmed the cause of death, the Associated Press reports. A nearby resident spotted the woman's body floating down the street, ABC 13 reported. By early Sunday morning, rescue officials were stretched thin. At 4:43 a.m. CST, the city of Houston tweeted, 911 services at capacity. If you can shelter in place. So more than 1,000 people were rescued overnight, according to Jeff Lindner with Harris County's flood control district, who spoke to CNN. Local officials pleaded with residents to stay home and off roadways. But for some, home was no longer a safe place. Emergency management officials requested that people escaping floodwaters as a last resort do not stay in the attic. If the highest floor of your home becomes dangerous, get on the roof. Call 911 for help and stay on the line until answered. Chief Art Acevedo of the Houston Police Department asked people to not go into the attic unless you have an axe or means to break through onto your roof. The U.S. Coast Guard said it has gotten more than 300 requests for urban search and rescue in the Houston area, according to the Associated Press. The National Weather Service called it a catastrophic and life-threatening flash flooding event. A flash flood emergency was in effect Sunday for most of southeastern Texas. Rainfall totaled more than 10 inches at the Houston Intercontinental Airport by early Sunday, and forecasters were calling for an additional 15 to 25 inches of rain across the middle and upper Texas coast before the storm is over, with isolated storm totals of up to 40 inches though Thursday. The NWS said tornadoes had been occurring across southeast Texas over the past day or so and will continue over the next several days. Houston's Metro said it was suspending all bus and rail service, and Houston's Hobby Airport said it was closing its arrivals section due to high water. The city's fire department tweeted, "Please don't travel," seeing multiple vehicles flooded. Houston TV station, KU, has been covering the flooding and evacuations, but was itself overtaken by floodwater. Anchor Blake Matthews tweeted a video of water from a nearby bayou rushing into the downtown studio. Matthews said they continued working from the second floor. Harvey was the most powerful storm to hit Texas in more than half a century. In the small coastal city of Rockport, Texas, where Harvey made landfall as a massive Category 4 hurricane on Friday night, a local county judge said one person had died as a result of the storm. The judge also said that the number of injured had risen to about 14 people. NPR's John Burnett reports from Rockport that even though a mandatory evacuation was ordered, around half of residents are thought to have remained. One resident, Ruben Lino, said he did not have a vehicle and he and his family cowered in their apartment while the storm raged. Sheetrock and glass were breaking, Nino said. We survived in little closets with 4 people until we called 911 and they came and rescued us. There was a lot of screaming and praying to Jesus and stuff like that. In the nearby island community of Port Aransas, officials have been unable to conduct a full assessment of Harvey's toll, because of massive damage, reports AP. I can tell you I have a very bad feeling and that's about it, Mayor Charles Bugen told AP. Bugen had called for a mandatory evacuation but did not know how many residents he did call to leave. What's ahead? The National Hurricane Center says Harvey is likely to weaken to a tropical depression by Sunday. But continuing rainfall in the days ahead remains the biggest threat. Some areas of Harris County, where Houston is located, are receiving more than 4 inches of rain per hour. President Trump tweeted Sunday, "Great coordination between agencies at all levels of government." Continuing rains and flash floods are being dealt with. Thousands rescued. In another tweet Trump said, "I will be going to Texas as soon as the trip can be made without causing disruption."